serene lake and towering pine trees. Camp Ravenwood stood as an idyllic retreat for children seeking a summer of adventure. The sun-dappled days and starlit nights created a picturesque backdrop for the laughter of campers as they roamed freely, engaged in activities ranging from archery to storytelling around the campfire. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect summer haven lurked a tale that would haunt the memories of those who experienced it. It all began on a warm July evening when the counselors decided to organize a special midnight hike. The campers, excited for an adventure beyond the usual daytime activities, eagerly gathered at the main lodge as the sun dipped below the horizon. Among them was a group of close friends, Emily, Jake, Sarah, and Ben, who were particularly intrigued by the mysterious allure of the night. As the campers ventured into the darkened woods, guided only by the flickering glow of their flashlights, a sense of excitement and trepidation filled the air. The counselors, wearing sly grins, led the group deeper into the forest, revealing a trail that none of the campers had ever explored before. As the group walked, the atmosphere became increasingly eerie. Shadows danced on the trees, and the wind whispered haunting secrets through the leaves. Unbeknownst to the campers, they were treading on the edge of the forgotten part of the camp, where an abandoned cabin lay hidden beneath the thick canopy. The counselors, aware of the camp's dark history, decided to regale the campers with a chilling tale. They spoke of the cabin, once a haven for a mysterious figure known as the Night Watcher, who was said to roam the woods seeking lost souls. The legend warned that the Night Watcher could be summoned by the collective heartbeat of those brave enough to enter the forbidden grounds. Unfazed by the tale, the campers pressed on, their flashlights casting long, distorted shadows on the trees. The counselors, secretly delighted by the growing unease, led the group to the entrance of the abandoned cabin. The air around the cabin was thick with an otherworldly energy, and the campers exchanged nervous glances. Against the backdrop of the silent forest, the counselors encouraged the campers to gather in a circle. As the campers nervously joined hands, the counselors began to chant an ancient incantation, their voices echoing through the stillness of the night. Unbeknownst to the campers, the counselors had planned this elaborate hoax to create a memorable, albeit frightening experience. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A subtle rustling in the underbrush and the distant hooting of an owl added to the suspense. The campers, caught in the grip of the moment, felt a collective shiver run down their spines. It was then that the counselors, their faces masked in shadows, abruptly fell silent. As the last echoes of the incantation faded, the air grew still. The campers exchanged puzzled glances, wondering if this was all part of the elaborate prank. Just as the tension reached its peak, a distant, haunting melody began to play. It was a tune that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the woods, captivating the campers and counselors alike. The Night Watcher, it seemed, had been summoned. The campers, now genuinely frightened, began to scramble away from the abandoned cabin, their earlier bravado replaced by a primal instinct to escape the encroaching darkness. The counselors, realizing that their prank had taken an unexpected turn, tried to reassure the campers that it was all part of the act. However, as the haunting melody intensified, shadows seemed to materialize among the trees. Unseen figures danced on the periphery of the campers' vision, their movements ghostly and unnatural. The air became charged with an energy that left the campers paralyzed with fear. In the midst of the chaos, Emily, Jake, Sarah, and Ben found themselves separated from the group. Panic set in as they stumbled through the woods, desperately trying to find their way back to the safety of the campsite. The Night Watcher's melody echoed in their ears, seemingly guiding them deeper into the heart of the forbidden woods. As they pressed on, the campers began to notice strange markings on the trees, symbols that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly glow. The forest around them transformed into an otherworldly realm, with shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. It was as if the Night Watcher's presence had awakened something ancient and malevolent. With each step, the campers felt the oppressive weight of the supernatural forces closing in around them. The haunting melody became a relentless drumbeat, pushing them to the brink of madness. As the Night Watcher's influence grew stronger, the very fabric of reality seemed to unravel, and the line between the living and the spectral blurred. The group stumbled upon an ancient clearing bathed in an ethereal glow. In the center stood a dilapidated statue, the remnants of a forgotten deity whose face had been worn away by centuries of neglect. The haunting melody reached its crescendo, and the shadows converged, coalescing into the spectral form of the Night Watcher. The campers, now paralyzed with fear, watched as the Night Watcher's eyes, pools of impenetrable darkness, fixed upon them. A voice, neither human nor otherworldly, whispered in their minds, revealing the tragic tale of the Night Watcher and the curse that bound it to the forsaken woods. Legend had it that the Night Watcher was once a guardian spirit of the forest, tasked with preserving the delicate balance between the natural and supernatural realms. However, the villagers, in their ignorance and fear, sought to banish the spirit, believing it to be an omen of misfortune. As the Night Watcher recounted its tale, the campers felt a profound sorrow emanating from the spectral figure. The haunting melody, now a mournful lament, echoed the spirit's pain and longing. The campers, no longer driven by fear, began to empathize with the tragic fate of the Night Watcher. Realizing that the curse could only be broken by understanding and compassion, Emily, Jake, Sarah, and Ben reached out to the spirit. They spoke words of empathy and regret, acknowledging the suffering that had been unjustly thrust upon the Night Watcher. Slowly, the spectral figure began to dissipate, its form merging with the shadows and vanishing into the night. As the haunting melody faded away, the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The ancient clearing returned to its dormant state, and the campers found themselves standing in the darkened woods, no longer haunted by the Night Watcher's presence. The markings on the trees disappeared, and the forest seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. The campers, shaken but alive, made their way back to the campsite. The once forbidden woods now bore no trace of the supernatural events that had unfolded. The counselors, bewildered by the sudden turn of events, were at a loss for words as they welcomed the campers back. The next morning, as sunlight filtered through the trees, the campers gathered to share their surreal experience. The counselors, now contrite, apologized for the unintended consequences of their prank. The legend of the Night Watcher had become an indelible part of Camp Ravenwood's history, cautioning